Hello everyone. This is Jamin Patel, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmaceutical Technology. Welcome to the MOOC series, an initiative taken by the LJ Institute of Pharmacy. In our today's session, we will continue with the same topic, that is the liposome. Okay. In our today's session, we will discuss about the characterizations of the liposome. So now move toward the characterizations of the liposome. So in previous lecture, we discussed that how to prepare the liposomes, different techniques that involve in the preparations of the liposomes. In our today's sessions, whatever the liposome that we prepared, okay, how to characterize, how to analyze that liposomes, whether this liposomes is perfect or not. So first one, that is the physical characterizations. Okay, in the physical characterizations, okay, here vesicle shapes and surface morphology can be determined with the help of transmissions electron microscopy, otherwise the pre-fracture electron microscopy. Okay, here the mean vesicle size or size distribution means the size of liposomes can be determined by the dynamic light scattering techniques, otherwise with the help of the zeta sizes, otherwise photon correlation spectroscopy, laser light scattering, gel permeation and gel exclusion method. Okay, generally we prefer the zeta sizer, okay, for the particle size analysis of the liposome. Surface charge can be determined by the free flow electrophoresis. Surface potential and surface pH is also determined by the zeta potential measurement and pH sensitive probes. Okay, lamellarity, okay, it is measured by the small angle X-ray scattering techniques. Okay, PNMR is also used to determine the lamellarity. Okay, phase behavior of the liposomes can be checked by the freeze fracture electron microscopy. Otherwise, the differential scanning calorimetry is utilized to check the phase behavior, whether the phase of the liposome is remain stable or due to the degradations of the phospholipid, that phase behavior is going to change. Okay, so it can be checked by the DSC study. Okay, percentage of the drug, okay, it can be measured by the mini column centrifugation techniques, otherwise the ion exchange chromatography techniques, otherwise the radio labeling techniques. The drug release done by the diffusion cell. Second, that is the chemical characterization. So phospholipid concentration can be measured by Bartlett assay, otherwise Stewart assay and HPLC method. The cholesterol concentration is measured by the cholesterol oxidase assay and HPLC method. Generally, we prefer the phospholipid peroxidations, okay, because the phospholipid is a sensitive molecule, is undergo the degradation. So whatever the metabolite product is that we are going to measure. So phospholipid peroxidations, okay, is measured by UV absorbance technique, otherwise the iodometrics or GLC techniques. Okay, most commonly used, that is the GLC techniques. Phospholipid hydrolysis, cholesterol autooxidations is measured by HPLC techniques or TLC techniques. Osmolarity, okay, is measured by osmometer. Biological characterization. So this liposome, okay, is very small formulations. It may be injected by the parenteral route. So that's why, okay, this liposome should follow all the parenteral parameters. Okay, so first parameter, that is the sterility. Okay, our liposome should be sterile in characters. Okay, it can be checked by aerobic or anaerobic cultures, okay, like the microbiological sterility testing. Okay, second one, that is the pyrogenicity, okay, is done by the lal test. Okay, I think so you are familiar with these terms, lal test. So this lal test is used to check the pyrogenicity of the liposomes. Okay, animal toxicity is measured by monitoring the survival rate, okay, histology and pathology. If I talk about the applications of the liposome, where the liposome is utilized, where this liposome is utilized. So liposome is used for topical applications like antimicrobial, anti-infective, anti-tumors, and antiseptics and NSAIDs. Okay, these are formulations. Okay, the topical applications can be done with the help of the liposomes. One important use of this liposome, that is liposomes is used as a carrier for the vaccines, because according to research it is proven that the if we incorporate the drug into a carrier liposomes, so ultimately antigenicity of that component is going to increase. Means if the bacterial suspension, if I prepared, and if I prepared the liposomal bacterial suspension, so ultimately antigenicity of this liposomal bacterial suspension is more, so ultimately it provide the drastic effect, it provide the better effect. There is no need to provide the booster dose in case of the vaccine. So it used as a carrier for the vaccines. It can carry a non-penetrating material like the genetic molecules, okay, helpful in genetic manipulations. Okay, genetic material can be delivered with the help of the liposome in the treatment of leishmaniasis. Okay, one another important use of this liposome, that is anti-cancer drug. Okay, here it can be targeted to particular part with the help of the liposome. Why? Because anti-cancer drug is uh, dangerous drug. Okay, many side effect is arise by these anti-cancer drug in the different part of body. So if we target the drug to the particular part only, so ultimately those associated side effect, drug associated side effect can be minimized. So liposome is used for targeting this anti-cancer drug. Now the next formulation, that is the neosomes. This neosome formulation, that is same as a liposome. Okay, so neosome is a novel drug delivery system, okay, in which the medications is encapsulated in the vesicles. Again here the hydrophilic drug and hydrophobic drug both can be incorporated into the neosomes. Now what is the difference of neosome with respect to liposomes? So liposomes is made up of the phospholipids. So major disadvantage of the liposome is this stability of the phospholipid. Phospholipid is not stable. Okay, is frequently undergo the oxidation process, otherwise the hydrolysis process. No doubt, phospholipid is compatible to our body, but due to the degradations of the phospholipid extensively, so half life of this liposome is very less. So if you want to improve the stability, if you want to improve the half life, okay, shelf life of the formulations, so we should go for these neosomes. Okay, so vesicles is composed of bilayer of the non-ionic surface active agent. Okay, so instead of the phospholipid we use the non-ionic surfactant. Okay, if we check the structure of this phospholipid and non-ionic surfactant, both the structure is almost same. Okay, hydrophilic head and lipophilic tail. Okay, so that's why here only change is that is instead of phospholipid we use the non-ionic surfactant. Okay, so we can use the surfactant like polyoxyethylene alkyl ether, okay, alkyl esters, alkyl amides, okay, fatty acids, amino acids compound can be utilized. Okay, see the structure of this liposome. Okay, here from the structure you can predict that the structure of this neosomes is same as a liposomes. And if we talk about the preparations of the neosomes, applications of the neosomes, characterizations of the neosome, all are same as liposomes. Okay, handshaking method is utilized for the preparations of the neosomes. Okay, membrane extrusion technique is utilized for the preparations of neosome. In the characterizations, generally shape, structure, surface charge, everything, okay, it checked by the specific microscopy techniques that we utilized for liposome characterizations. Okay, so here all the process that is same. Okay, so thank you very much. Okay, for thanks for watching this video. Okay, for more updates, like, share, subscribe our YouTube channel, that is Pharma Ignites. Okay, press bell icon for notifications.